What's going on, Spurns? Hope you're bloody lovely. How am I doing? Thanks for asking. Frankly, your Uncle Spur is balls deep in some sort of mental crisis thing at the moment, possibly of the midlife variety. Except that I'm already over 40, and let's face it, most northerners don't even hit 42. I'm basically a pensioner without a pension. And if you're wondering why us folk don't last too long, it's generally because of our life decisions. Like my choice to drink this Aunt Bessie's apple crumble and custard beer at the weekend. Honestly, I'm not even sure why this happened. I mean, I even got judged by the Morrison's checkout lady when it rolled up to her on the conveyor. And she was bloody Scottish as well, which makes it all the more upsetting. And their national drink is literally a cocktail made of gone-off wine, coffee grinds and fag ash. Anyway, you won't be shocked to hear that the beer tasted rank and it's basically just one more pellet on my enormous turd of regret. But it's time to put on a big smile, swallow down all that self-hatred and bang on about the Pixel Watch 2. Jingle me! Techspert Weekly! So the Pixel Watch 2 is set to launch on October the 4th, when Google will also be whipping out its latest Pixel 8 blowers. In fact, Google already confirmed the watch's existence along with those phones on its website, although they haven't yet given us an idea of what the price might be. But if they want this watch to stay competitive, you can expect it to cost from around 300 to 350 GBPs, just like the original. Now, don't expect the Pixel Watch 2 to look massively different to the original. In fact, it'll likely sport a near identical design with a stainless steel finish and a curved circular display. So rather than stumping up for a Watch 2, you could just bag yourself the first Pixel Watch and tell everyone it's the 2, so they think you're all awesome and cutting edge, but you save yourself a few quid to spend on beer. Just not this beer. Like the first one, the Pixel Watch 2 will likely come in two different flavours, Wi-Fi and LTE. But these models should basically look the same, don't expect any changes in size or anything. And like the original Pixel Watch, you can expect a handful of different colours and hopefully a greater selection of straps, along with a gorgeous crisp OLED display. And I'm not going to piss and moan about that, because I quite liked the look of the Pixel Watch 1. It was certainly very distinctive, stood out from the rest of the crowd. It was very sleek, smart and simple. So I'll be happy enough if they stick with that rounded pebble style design, especially as it means I can just recycle my review script from the first one. However, the actual innards could be very different this time around. Various web whisperings reckon that the Pixel Watch 2 will be powered by Qualcomm's W5 Gen 1 chipset, or possibly and hopefully the W5 Plus Gen 1, rather than one of them Samsung Exynos efforts. That W5 Plus Gen 1 was also stuffed inside of the Ticwatch Pro 5, and one of the biggest benefits of that watch was the battery life, which isn't shockingly cack. Indeed, the Ticwatch could go for around 4 to 5 days on a single charge, even with all of its features switched on. A smidge better than the Pixel Watch, which barely survives for 24 hours. Although admittedly, the Ticwatch's dual display design and large battery capacity certainly helped out in that area. And Google has also apparently optimized Wear OS so it's much less of a battery drain. So stroke a whole bunch of wood that these little tweaks alongside the upgraded Snapdragon chipset means that the Pixel Watch 2 won't die faster than my enthusiasm for life every time I see James Corden's gormless Gurnin mug. Now, those strange people who actually prefer exercise over Greg steak bakes and all-day Netflix sessions will enjoy the Fitbit support, which of course makes a return for this new smartwatch. The free version gives you full health tracking, while a paid premium account allows you to do some long-term tracking, complete with a quarterly PDF report. Presumably mine would just include 3 words: "You f***ed boy," or you'll also enjoy upgraded sleep analysis, stress tracking, all that shenanigans. But frankly, all I need is for my watch to taser me every time it catches me reaching for a pack of pork scratchings. That really would be a game changer. And other rumours point to a few other little tweaks and upgrades for the Pixel Watch 2, including the ability to actually take your temperature via your skin, and some other health related bollocks. So yeah, all sounds rather lovely. But here's the big question: what do you guys want to see in the Pixel Watch 2? It'd be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll smash our way through those in next week's show. And speaking of which, now it's time for the part of the show that's probably an even worse idea than an Aunt Bessie's gravy beer. Although, f*** it, I'd still get it inside me. It's viewer comments. Viewer comments. So lots of marvellous comments on last week's show, a significant amount of them based around my hairy hobbit feet. So Dan says, the struggle to show your foot to the camera and the realization of what it is you're even doing makes me sure this is one of my top 3 favorite ongoing series on YouTube. Thanks Dan, mate, much appreciated. I got to admit, after shooting last week's show, I had some pretty serious doubts about whether people would actually still be watching the show at the point where I started flashing around my muffy foot, and B, if any of those people would actually ever tune into anything I ever shot and published again. And the answer is at least one person, hopefully there, so that's cracking. DNF says, got to love those tiger feet. And you've also got to love a mud reference, which is possibly the first time that's ever happened on a tech-based internet show. John Paul Graham says, do your toenails need cutting? More to the point, are you offering, mate? Now, admittedly, I do not trim my feet half as much as I really should do. I've just got this overwhelming paranoid fear that a razor-sharp shard of toenail is going to fly up into my face and skewer my eyeball or something. I mean, no kidding, the last time I tried to cut them, a piece of shrapnel almost decapitated the cat. Baz Anime says, oh great, now Uncle Spurt's foot clip is going to end up on Pornhub. I'm assuming that Pornhub is a YouTube comments-friendly way of saying a popular internet spank bank. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm just remembering that, of course, we recently discussed how foot smut seems to be a surprisingly popular genre online. Yeah, maybe now's a good time to set up that OnlyFans page and get my own puby wonders on there. But last week wasn't all just raunchy foot chat, however, we also had a good bit of discourse on the upcoming S24 Ultra. So Blue Blood says the difference between the S21 Ultra to the S22 Ultra was at best minimal and not worth the upgrade, which is why I waited for the S23 Ultra. Yeah, it's very much all incremental upgrades with those flagships at the moment, which is, I suppose, good news from a consumer standpoint, because it means you don't feel compelled to change your bloody phone every single year. From a having to review these things for a living and actually make these videos somewhat interesting perspective, it sucks monkey nuts though. Tip Don says the S24 needs a built-in gimbal stabilizer and internal cooling fans. Yeah, I did like the gimbal stabilization on those Vivo phones, found that was particularly good for like the low light night shots and stuff like that. Internal cooling fans hopefully not going to be necessary with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 stuffed inside, but Qualcomm has stumbled in the past. I mean, look at the 8 Gen 1, that thing got rather toasty. Similar thoughts from, sorry, I absolutely suck at pronunciation, so I'm gonna maul this. Ian says for S24 it would be great to have a 60 to 80 watt charging speed, a better cooling system, and much better video stabilization. Yeah, faster charging is 100% something I would get a massive trouser tent over. Massive has probably been a bit too generous to myself. But yeah, sadly after the exploding battery shenanigans of the Galaxy Note 7, I think Samsung's been a bit cautious in that area, so probably unlikely. Charon Boat says, what about implementation of those new Euro regulations regarding replaceable batteries? Well, that law doesn't technically come into effect until I think it's 2027, but Samsung has actually made some changes to the insides of its phones to make the likes of the battery easier to rip out. I did actually see when I was over in Korea a Samsung dude tear out the battery on the S23 Ultra and replace it. It's still something that personally I hate to do because if you've seen my Nokia G22 video, it basically involves a ton of teeny tiny screws about the size of a cockroach's pube. Just gotta try not to sneeze, otherwise I'm completely f***ed. And frankly, your Uncle Spurt's eyes are shot and my hands shake worse than a shitting dog, so it's just not a good idea. Oh, there we go. And the battery has been removed. Jerry rig everything, eat your cock out. Nicky Boy says S23 Ultra specs, but in standard S24 size will do. I mean, that would be effing marvelous. A compact S24 Ultra. I'm at half mast just even thinking about that. The catchily named user LL2WS5MG1D says, I'd like to see crash detection on Samsungs. It should be an enabled feature on every smartphone. Now we have the technology to do it. It's a potential life-saving feature just like the seatbelt. Yeah, that is a great shout. I am surprised it's not on more phones, to be perfectly honest. And that is actually a feature that was rumoured to be on the new Pixel Watch 2, which I completely forgot to mention in that whole bit where I, banged on about the Pixel Watch 2. And he also says, I can't wait to see your iPhone 15 Pro Max review. Well, good news, that is most definitely coming. It is here at TechSpert Towers, so yeah, I'll be pumping out content on that bad boy soon. Can't wait. SJSTU says, I watched the iPhone launch event and it didn't escape my attention that apart from it being rather cringeworthy, I didn't see it myself, so I have no idea. All of the male presenters appear to be bow-legged. Either that or they were going to reveal the iPhone by squatting it out. Now that right there would be a memorable iPhone launch. Timmy C revealing the iPhone by literally giving birth to it. Could have his legs up in stirrups either side and then Craig right beside him saying, "Come on Timmy, breathe, breathe." And then with much gnashing of teeth, out it pops. Glory, glory. Probably be best if it was just a regular iPhone though, because the Pro Max would probably split him in half. Paul Harden says, "I'm still considering the Fold 5. I have an S22 Exynos and overall I'm happy, but battery life isn't great. Should I upgrade to the Fold 5 or wait?" I mean, sadly, the Fold 5's battery life ain't exactly super hot either, but the Snapdragon Samsung's definitely an improvement over the Exynos's, so if you manage to see one of those going at a decent rate, I'd highly recommend. DVDV says, "Remember when new flagship phones were actually something to get excited about and not just a refurbishing of the one preceding it? Pepperidge Farm remembers." Yeah, and I still maintain that this is why everyone went a bit special when the Nothing phone came out, because it was just something a bit different from everything else on the market. But yeah, I reckon it'll be a long time before we see another Nokia N-Gage or an LG Wing or anything batshit bonkers like that. LG was always good value when it came to mental tech, you know, they always give you a good chuckle, if nothing else. But anyway, Marlon says, "Wait, what's your finger doing there?" What's my finger doing where? Was I just absent-mindedly picking at my arse or something? I need a timestamp, damn it, don't leave me hanging like this. The Dushka says, "Where can I write comments so Uncle Spurt will read them?" Right bloody there, buddy. Now, G.I. Joe says, "Where do you get your wallpapers from?" It's been a hot minute since I've busted out this jingle. Wall.alphacoders.com, wall.alphacoders.com, that's where my wallpapers come from, wall.alphacoders.com. iPhone Air says, "No one is talking about how Chris's last name sounds like diarrhea." I don't even know how to respond to that. What? Bob Matthews says, "Got a notification from Motorola this morning that a month prior to release of Android 14, I'm getting, drumroll please, Android 12. Way, definitely cause for celebration there, mate. Bust out the Bird and Matthews frozen turkey bollocks or whatever. MonGod LX says, "Will you do a review of the Motorola Edge 40 Neo? Seems to be a good blower for the price." Bloody good news, matey. That's the exact phone I have clutched in my sweaty palm right now. And yeah, my full unboxing and tour is live right now. A review might take a little while to trickle through because I've got other phones like the iPhone, some certain Xiaomi numbers from next week, etc., which I need to cover first. I've also got no less than 2 other Motorola smartphones. Good old Moto, they don't just like to launch one phone at a time, do they? And an Xperia smartphone, so I've got quite the pile right there. This is where I could definitely do with some minions who run around doing all the work while I just occasionally sit here and read out the words they write. I better make this the last comment of the week because I'm massively running out of time. Kenny Ken TV says, "In a duel of fisticuffs, which Queen-loving Brit would emerge the victor, Tech Chap or Tech Spurt?" Well, good question, but first off, I like Tom too much to just go up to him and randomly twat the lad. I might be northern, but I honestly do not just go around lamping for fun. Not much anyway. That said, in a hypothetical situation where we did go at it, so to speak, my money would definitely be on him because first of all, he's got several inches on me. He's got that longer reach. And also, he's about a decade younger than me, so he doesn't get out of breath just tying his shoelaces. But who knows, maybe we'll do a Jake Paul and have some sort of pointless Z-list internet celebrity fisticuffs tournament at some point when we're like desperate for viewers. Do it out in a Spoonie's car park and have somebody film it on their phone. So yes, a massive thanks to Kenny Ken TV and everyone else who commented last week. Tons of fun as always. Please do smash your comments down below. We'll get through as many of those as possible in next week's show. And speaking of next week,
this is about next week.
So next Tuesday, it's the massive Xiaomi 13T launch out in Bonnie, Berlin, and you can bet your bollocks, or your labia if you're a lady, that I'll be out there in Germany propping up a barn, smashing the steins and sausage, all in the name of tech journalism. Xiaomi are thought to be launching 2 new phones, the 13T and the 13T Pro. I did bang on about them in a previous episode of TechSpert Weekly, 2 weeks ago I think it was. And possibly some new wearables and smart home gadgetry as well, so definitely come back on Tuesday for some more hands-on video shenanigans with all that good stuff. My flight is actually over the weekend, so I'm just going to go slap on my lederhosen and get all packed up, but I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend as well. A massive thanks again for watching this shower of shit all the way to the bitter end. Have yourselves a bloody wonderful one, and poke subscribe, ding the notifications bell, all that shit. Cheers everyone, love you!